Wow, that was like so professional. I
I
love it.
know, right? Yeah, I don't think I've done a countdown before when going live.
That's so awesome. I'm
Yeah.
definitely learning all this new tech. As you guys can see, we got a nice, pretty studio. Shout out to Batch Leads, Batch Service for taking care of us. I have the blessing to be here today with Landry Morby. We actually just met for like the first time officially, like about, what was it, a week ago, a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
Super, super awesome. And she's going to be helping me out with this show where we're going to be talking all about agent outreach. Right now, there's a lot going on in the industry between agent outreach and all these different strategies. So I think it's worth it for us to not only have a show, but to lead from the front and actually show you guys how to make calls to agents. So this show is called Agent Outreach Live. We're going to be doing this every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Arizona time. So make sure to tune in. Obviously, if you can't make it live, we have it recorded. You'll be able to watch the replay on YouTube. But yeah, that's kind of our intro. Landry, I appreciate you. Thank you again. If you don't
Yeah.
mind, give people a quick little background on yourself, Batch Service, and then just any information you feel is necessary before we jump into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name's Landry. I'm the community manager with Batch Service. So, I get to connect with everybody in a really fun and interesting way, getting into challenges and helping people really network and connect. There's so many different types of people in the business that utilize batch leads, and that's really the goal, is just bringing people together in the mission, the way that they connect in there. So people that are real estate agents, that are wholesaling, of course, fix and flipping. We have contractors in there, people in the roofing industry. There's lenders. It's really cool to just have, bring everybody together utilizing this one system to find the data that they need. So I've been with Batch for 3 years now, and it's been amazing to see all of the different things that have come to pass over the past few years. It's been around a little bit longer than
Wow.
that.
And I'm sure too, I mean, 3 years. I have had the blessing to know Jesse and the guys at Batch for years as well. And to see where they were when I was over at Steve Tring's Real Estate Disruptors meetups to where they're at today, that's actually kind of one of the perfect things to talk about, is that agent outreach is in Batch. Like, that's obviously what we're talking about in the show. It's Agent Outreach Live. This is something that I've been like behind the scenes, just poke, 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 poke. There's a few sources that I can't name that just were not great for pulling agent information. And I've been begging Jesse and the Batch team to be like, can you guys please be the data providers for agent information? It's all
Yes.
public. It's just tedious. It's stuff that I have to actually go in and do manual labor. And I'm going to realtor.com. I'm going to Zillow. I'm going to Redfin. It's a lot. So what better way for us to collaborate and put our heads together than to actually go and find a source like Batch that can go and pull agent information and then even source it out. So I think that's something that we could really talk about too, is that what's the difference between batch leads overall versus batch leads with agent outreach? What's the difference in the system?
Right. Yeah. So it's been so phenomenal to have agent outreach in here. I've heard nothing but great things. People that maybe either never dealt with that in the past that are just checking it out, or people like you that that's like the bread and butter of their business, and they're like game changer, mind blown. So basically within batch, it's the whole idea is being an all-in-one system, being able to pull data on sellers, buyers, now agents, with that being in there. Everybody has that too, which is so cool. It's not like you need to be in this fancy plan to get it or anything. You can skip trace in there, you can mark it, you can make phone calls in there, you can send direct mail, check your reporting. So really the whole mission here is being able to not have to juggle, 9 different systems, what everybody's used to doing, which is the power of the tool. And we're just
For sure.
continuously growing and adding more. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, I'm biased. I'm the agent investors guy. So I would talk all day long about MLS and agent outreach. From the data standpoint, system standpoint, would you agree that agent outreach is probably the most shiny object at the current moment in real estate investing?
Oh yeah. And it should be,
For sure.
definitely should be.
And we're going to show people today as to, well, not even just today, but over the span of this entire series, this why agent outreach, in my opinion, is the best. And I always tell people this inside Agent Investors, that I don't think that you find it this often, the transparency from people that are teaching and educating and providing the blueprint, that I'm going to tell you that I'm okay if this strategy is a stepping stone. This strategy for me has been something that has changed my life. Agent outreach has been something that I've been able to double down on, have as little to no overhead as possible, while also going and being extremely profitable. People don't talk about it, but the number one rule of small business is literally to stay in business. So what can you do inside a market like real estate that's extremely volatile? Well, it's stay consistent with all the lean and mean opportunities. And two, it's to be able to go out there and stay consistent while still being profitable. So if you don't
Yeah.
close a deal in your first 6 months, are you out of the industry? Well, if you were doing marketing direct to seller, probably. If you were going and trying to do agent outreach and on market deals, probably not.
Yeah.
So that's where I think this strategy is going to be awesome. I'm super excited to share with everybody all the tips and secrets. Really just pull back the curtains. One of the things that we want to talk about at the beginning is why, again, agent outreach and some of the key fundamentals. One of the things I want you guys to understand is that I'm obviously talking about this to you guys mostly being investors. What I don't think people fully understand about what I try to preach is that I'm actually an agent myself. I've been an agent for 7 years. Started off 18. I'm 25 now. I'm still a baby, but 7 years into the industry, I have gotten whatever it is cracked on the code from being a successful realtor without having to go out there and show a bunch of houses, list a bunch of properties. And it's because I use the tool in the tool belt. So inside this show, if you guys have questions, it is a live show. So what I ask is if you guys don't mind, we are going to be asking for engagement. We're going to be asking for collaboration. I always say this at our events and meetups, but you don't realize that the other person that you're looking for is probably on this show watching. So whether it's live
Yes.
or replayed, make sure to comment below what market you're in, what you're looking for, put out into the universe what it is that you're trying to attract, and you'd be surprised as to what's going to come your way. Now, as for agent outreach, some of the nitty gritty strategies, what you need to understand about this, where I was going about me being an agent perspective, is that if you're just the person that's sending a text saying, are you a licensed realtor? Are you able to send me any off market opportunities? You send those kind of texts, what do you think the realtor's going to do? What I'm challenging and trying to change the narrative for them is that as they're getting overwhelmed with these spam messages, because that's what it is, I'm trying to train them to qualify you as an investor. So I'm going to give you the exact blueprint that I'm telling these agents to do to qualify you. I'm telling them just like they would a normal client. Number one, what's your buy box? Number two, can I see a proof of funds? Number three, this is the hardest one for a lot of people. Can I see your last few deals? If you don't have
Mm,
the ability to show your last few deals, and I'm sorry, again, bold take, you shouldn't be wholesaling. You need to be partnered up, whether it's JV, actual partnership, or having some kind of an agreement with somebody that does have the capability of buying to not only give yourself the confidence, but to give yourself the legitimacy. So if you can go in there and actually be an accredited investor in what you say you are, I'm not talking about changing the Instagram bio. I'm talking about going in there and actually doing the actionable steps to get a deal. You can understand why an agent would ask you what it is you're looking for. What is your proof of funds, which everybody can get a proof of funds. Third, the last few deals. It's not wrong to go and say, this is my partner. These are his last few deals. This is who I work
okay.
with.
Yeah.
That's normal. That's fine. That's actually called authenticity and real. That's what we want. So if that's what the agent is being taught by me, you as the investor, how can you stand out? What personality do you have? Can you talk about some common world event that happened? There was a guy in my community, a huge shout out to Sean Tucker. This guy out in California was talking about the bank shut down, but I still got money. That's not a text that an agent's getting from spam investors just trying to find discounted properties or they're put into a follow-up sequence. This is a real person that is sending mass texts, but with the right approach. It's intentional. That's what it all comes down to. So, key fundamentals, first off, is be real, be authentic, be genuine. Understand that what you're talking to on the other side is not just money. It's not going to be going in like this is a transactional relationship. This is relational. And if you can truly understand what we're saying inside of this, when we're saying go and talk to agents and make it relational, I'm saying that sometimes walk away from the deal is the best thing to do. Sometimes having conversations with an agent where you're on the phone, which I'm sure we're going to find somebody, they have a listing, they have a pocket listing. My offer's too low. So
Mm,
rather than trying to be the guy, as Brent always says, we are deal finders, not deal creators, rather than trying to be the guy that is a deal creator, like, how do I put it inside this box and make it a
yeah.
deal? I'm like, no, I'm actually going to be the guy that can tell you why my numbers are what makes it a deal. And if it doesn't make sense for your seller to accept that, I understand. So the philosophy is if it's not this one, it's the next. That's what I teach. That's what I preach. That's what I try to go out there and make sure everybody understands. This is all relationship focused business. If you can understand the goal is really just to get a number of realtors bringing you 1 to 2 deals a year, the average realtor does 10 to 11 deals a year. The average investor does 7 to 8. If you're a high level investor doing very high production, you're around 20 to 50 transactions a year. You find 25 realtors through agent outreach that bring you 2 deals a year. That's 50 transactions. Welcome to the big leagues. That's what we're teaching you here today. That's what we're teaching you here over the series. We're going to give you guys the exact blueprint to follow to do agent outreach and MLS offers at a very, very, very high level. So I'll get off my soapbox. Landry, Give us some rundowns for agent outreach, some stuff that what Batch Leads has to offer. Maybe we even show some of the system and the overview. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to, I think see if you can share it and we can kind of just obviously just a heads up anybody watching, there's going to be stuff blurred out so that we don't get kicked off YouTube, just to show you guys like what are we looking at and how to do this stuff. But this has been such an awesome tool because of course not only can you reach out to agents to find you pocket listings and work with them with other properties that they encounter in their day-to-day, but you can reach out to them to find relationships with other buyers that they're already representing people fix and flipping. There's so many. I can't get over it because it's so cool. So anybody that's brand new getting started or has done this for a while, it's beneficial in all realms. So yeah, basically you're just able to come into agent outreach, and there's a lot of other things you can do through property search, which I really like doing because then you can like narrow down finding those on market listings and then just save the agents attached, which is
And
nice.
can we use that to comp people or comp properties too? With the people send us the
Yes,
property
or
search.
within here. So yeah, so in property search, yeah, you could be like, hey, yeah, let's look up 123
Property
Main
sent to you
Street.
123 Main Street. I could type in 123 Main Street, so I'm all in one system.
Yes,
Cool.
100%. So you're just like, yeah, cool. I'll pull it up right now, and then you'll be able to open up the details. Like here, let's see. Let's just go to one random address. Like if this was the one you were looking at, this is blurring from the other screen, but
Yep.
just to give you an idea that there's just the comping tool. So you would pull up the details and then just
Mhm.
immediately be able to start comping and then look at all the
Beautiful.
other stuff. So
That's awesome.
yeah, so that is a really great way because then you can come in and use the filters to find active listings that are like below market value and super old and all that good stuff and really narrow it down. But in the actual agent outreach side, all you have to do is just search for a certain area. Let's just do Phoenix. If you guys want to put it in the chat or the comments, what market you're in. We'd love to be focusing this on where you guys are actually working rather than just doing where we're at, in Arizona.
Absolutely. And that's the coolest thing too. I mentioned this is a live show. Guys, make sure to let people know, not only for the sake of collaboration, but for our sense. I don't say this to try to be the guy that's like, aha, I got you. I want to show you that you put me in any market in the entire country, get me a list of realtors, and I'm going to make some magic happen. So what I typically like to do with these kind of shows and stuff like this is if I can actually have an agent relationship formed in a market where I'm not doing deals, I post the lead, all the information, the conversation with the agent inside my Discord. I want people to be able to go in there and take that relationship as if you were my partner, because we are, as a community, we are collaborating, and go and work with that realtor. If it's someone that I could show on a live stream like this, not only that's a benefit for an investor, imagine what happens when that agent starts to understand how to connect more pieces. They're the one person that's actually in the trenches with you. So these are people that can go out there and find more opportunities rather than just a wholesaler that's trying to get started. So
Love it. Yeah. I mean, what would you do when if you came in here, would you just what is important to you when reaching out to agents if you were going to pull a list and playing around with this
are you
type
talking
tool?
about filters or conversation?
Filters, and then we can talk about like
Sure.
when we pull up these agents, like what type of conversation would that make you
Yeah,
have when you pull up
absolutely.
this
So
list?
first off, filter. I would, before I even jump into an advanced search, I would probably be using this almost like a yellow pages, going in
Okay,
like,
yeah,
let's just
just the entire place in
yeah.
Phoenix.
So like if I found an agent online on a property in another market, I would probably reach out to them and just type in like John Doe. John Doe would pop up. I would have a few different options to go and call their either brokerage office line or their cell number. So I'd
Yep.
be using it almost like a reference point for individual contacts. And then for exporting, this is what gets me excited. It's not just exporting and pulling mass agent information. That's awesome. And if you have the ability to get access to a whole agent list from a state, as valuable as you think it is, it's really not. It's just information. It's public data for all that matter. It's better
Yeah.
to go get agent data from a title company rather than just pulling it from another source. So what I recommend when you have a resource like Batch here, what I love is that you could actually filter it out based off of production sold. You could see
Mhm.
how many active listings they have. And then I even caught one thing that mentioned to the team when they were at our mastermind talking about this was how do we go in and create a sort button? So once we pull it by the amount of listings sold or volume sold, can we sort it by highest to lowest? What I would
Not
say,
yet, but yeah,
yeah,
I
it'll
think
be there. Version two.
yeah, yeah,
Version
yeah,
two.
yeah.
So what I'm excited about with that is that I could tell people some of the tips and tricks, like how we have other resources pull this for us at the moment. I can say if you're looking at the top person to about 22, 23, sometimes around that 25 range, those are actually not people you want to contact. The people that
Mm,
are the top 1 through 25 in volume is typically brokerages, team leaders, people that have a lot of agents under them. While that might be the one to many approach that I talk about all the time, it's actually not as advantageous as if you were to just go and work maybe with someone that's 25 to 150. The people that are actually on their way up that list that are still individual or on a smaller team,
yeah.
that's money. Those are the people that are in the trenches working their ass off, and they are trying to find more deals. So I always say, and this is kind of my catchphrase, and then I think we should jump into the advanced search. I think that what people really need to understand a lot of times with the questions you ask, I'm going to reference this one statement. And with this one statement, I just try to go tip of the iceberg. And then when you ask the question, I reference it, we talk about what that means. So the saying is that the hardest part of being a realtor is to find a client. The hardest part of being the investor is to find the deal. If you can understand that entire saying, I promise you this whole strategy will make you over $1 million. Whether it's in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, you will find success if you understand that statement. Agents are not going to cuss you out. They're not going to turn you away. They're not going to yell at you. They might say your offer is insulting. They may say there's no deals on the MLS. They may say there's no buyers on the MLS. Obviously, those are all limiting beliefs that we can prove are 100% false. It's a lazy take. But what you can understand is that if they're out there prospecting, which if you look at the bus stops, you look at the billboards, you look at the grocery carts at the grocery store, why are realtors on those places? Because the hardest part of being a realtor is to find a client. They're out there marketing, they're promoting, they're doing anything and everything possible, like spending $2,500 a month on Zillow leads, trying to get 5, 6, 7 leads with what? No guarantee. They're looking for opportunity and clients. Investors are looking for deals. That's why they go direct to seller. That's why they try to JV with other wholesalers. They try to do whatever it is that's the low hanging fruit or easier opportunity or easier entry, I should say, to where you think you could find a deal. It's not
Yep.
in 2023. 2023 is the year where you're going and working with agents and finding deals on market. I've been doing it since 2019, 2020, where this has been my primary strategy. I don't get up here and get on these shows and stuff like that, just waving the flag so people come and talk to us. I say it because it works and we attract people because it works. So if you can understand how to problem solve and how to provide more value, I promise you in return, you're going to get more deals. So advanced search. Let's
Let's
talk
do it.
about this.
Okay, so do you want to stay in Phoenix, or do we have anybody that is
We've got
putting
a
in?
bunch of comments here. We got
See,
Tampa, Florida. We've got Fort Collins. We've got Delray Beach. We've got Orlando. We got a bunch in Florida. Let's look at Tampa.
let's do. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, in Tampa. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's do it. So all you guys do is just type in your location. You have to do that. That's the only thing that's required, and then the rest is up to you. So first name, last name, office name, or the brokerage, and then this is what Ryan was talking about, like being able to look up how many listings they've sold in a certain time frame, or if they currently have any active listings on the MLS.
So if we were to type in
So,
5 active
yeah.
listings, well, five's
Okay.
high. Let's go ahead and put in 3 active listings.
Okay.
And then Tampa, Florida, we could just search this and this pulls up a list of everyone that has 3 active listings.
Let me blur that out. And by the way, you guys get literally all of the information right at your fingertips. Their primary phone, of course, has to be blurred out. The brokerage phone, their email address, which I was talking to somebody in the batch community. I think he's been in wholesaling now just a month now. It was so cool. He's like, yeah, I've been in for 3 weeks and just closed my first deal, and it was an active listing. It was awesome. And he said that having this tool gave him so much credibility when he started reaching out, because he already had it right in front of him. He's like, oh, this is your email. Got it.
Yep.
Have your phone number. Got it. I have your first and last name. There's no like, what was it again? What's your name? You're building that relationship by having literally everything you need, which I thought was really cool. So let's click on somebody here. Let me take my screen off really quick just so that we don't get taken down. I'm going to blur it out and show you guys what info you have without even having to save it or anything in a second.
While you do that, I'll talk about the most infamous question. It's always how do I start? How do I pick a market? How do I do this? I see actually right on cue, Marlon, how you guys got there. Exactly what I'm talking about. So we are using batch leads. We are going through agent outreach, which is one of the newest additions to their software. That's why I'm here, obviously. Direct to sellers, not my jam. Anything agent outreach on market, I'm your guy. So what we're talking about is the entry. So entry is market. This is situational awareness. This is fundamentals. This is the core foundation pieces to success within this strategy. So let's back it up. How we got there, batch leads, agent outreach. Make sure you definitely check it out. 2, what we're going to talk about is how do I pick a market? How do I identify a market? I would obviously say that what you should look at first is your local market. A lot of times people say it needs to have this many people, it needs to have this much deal flow, this, or this percentage of turnover. Yes, those matter, but what it comes down to is if you could drive to the property when you're first starting, it's beneficial. If you can't and you're in a small market where there's 10,000 people or less, I understand. With that, I will also tell you we are buying a 16 unit in a town where there's less than 10,000 people solely based off of tax benefit and cash flow. So there's deals everywhere. Deals are relative to the buyer. The hardest part of being an investor is to find a deal. So I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. My result is cash flow and tax depreciation. That's what I want. So with that, if you're in a market where it's 10,000 or less, know that it's probably just fewer investors. It's not that there's not deals there. It's that the buyers are fewer and far between. So the bigger metro areas, some of the top cities, I mean, I would obviously say look at Phoenix, Arizona, look at the Florida market. We have students right now and agent investors that are crushing it in California, and I don't love California. We see Texas, we see Tennessee, we see some of the southeast states. We've got a couple of students up in Washington. The moral of it all is that wherever you want to go, you can. Just most important is that you have to have a buyer first. So we talk about agent outreach, we talk about all this stuff. One of the fundamentals is that you need to have your buyer. When we talked about the legitimacy of being a wholesaler and being an investor, which is what you are, you're going to go in and you need to be able to problem solve. If you're going in trying to act like you're the guy and you get properties under contract and then you have to cancel, what do you think the number one reason is for cancellation? It's price being too high. So if the price is too high, that means that you're not working with enough buyers, or you don't have enough buyers. You may not even have one. So if you have a buyer lined up, a JV partner, somebody that gives you the credibility, when you start submitting offers, that person will be able to give you the confidence. Now, obviously, as you grow and you build, I'm at the point now where hopefully this is also transparency. We don't have over 100 buyers. I've got around like 60, 70 people in my database that I consistently sell deals to. 60 to 70 buyers with around 50, 60 really, really good VIP agents. That'll make us over $500,000 a year in wholesale. So with that said, make sure you have your buyers, make sure you know your market, make sure you can go in there and be consistent. Now, the fundamental of a system and software like Batch, this is where we can jump in. You ready for this?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So when you guys are in here, I can't show you all the pages just once again with and by the way, I actually missed this one part right here. 1 second. Okay. Take me off one more time. This
No
thing
worries.
is so touchy. I was going to ask you too, and I'll get this up, but what do you do if you are somebody that you're like, what do you mean? How am I going to find a buyer? Would you just go and like, what are your thoughts with building your cash buyers list? Because of course there's so many different ways you can go about it, but for somebody just getting started, what is the best way you would recommend in your experience?
Great question. So there's always the one person that's like the introvert that's like, I don't want to go talk to people, Ryan. I don't know what to say. It has to be perfect. You sound good on the phone and on YouTube and all these things. And I'm like, chill. You see how many times I mess up on the phone when I'm talking to people or I fumble? A lot of times where I catch myself is actually I'm calling before I have all the information. So I have too little information. So I'm calling, I'm like, is this a buyer relationship?
You're like, hold on.
So I say that because I'm human. It hopefully kind of lets the guard down and let people know that you guys can do this too. It's going to take work, and obviously through trial and error you will find more success. It's like I always hate using this example because obviously I don't go to the gym, but like when you go to the gym, the more reps you do, the easier it becomes. So if you can go in there and understand that it's the same thing with work, the whole goal here is that you need to understand it typically takes two things. It's going to be effort and obviously time, but then money is something else that people don't talk about. Money is what it sometimes takes to get more deals through marketing. This strategy takes you mostly time instead of money. So yes, support batch leads. Obviously, we have agent investors. Those are all tools on a tool belt that can get you that first deal. But you have to understand if the investment into yourself is a software that's less than $200 a month, if it's a course or a community or whatever that's going to better you, it's understanding the value in that. So now, before taking out all the money side of things, if you can understand this strategy truly just takes time, now it's a matter of being efficient. It's being intentional. And what I always say to my people in my community is directional. So intentional is first, directional is second. You need to know where you're going to direct yourself through the forest. Now, as for buyer conversations, this is something that it does take time to get comfortable with it. But if you can understand that the value you are providing to the investor, since the hardest part of being an investor is to find a deal, you can understand that what you're bringing is potential deals. Now, again, shout out, I always like to give credit where credit's due. Templeton Walker, one of my best friends out here in Phoenix, he was saying that he said it's in our mastermind, and there's a few people that were like, "Oh snap!" Like it wasn't meant to be the way that it sounded. But you need to understand how true the statement is. That if you're not getting responses, you're not providing value. He's not saying that what you're doing is not being valuable as a human. You're obviously valuable as a human. Everybody's valuable as a human. But in business, you're not bringing enough value. So that goes
Mm.
to situational awareness, which I always talk about. And if you're not getting responses, you're not doing what you need. So what you need to do is understand, what is this person's block? Is it that they don't have enough time? Is it that when they get an opportunity, they need 24, 48 hours to respond? Is it that they're out there dealing with personal stuff? Is there a bottleneck in any of the parts of their business? What can you do to make their life easier with bringing opportunities? So the conversation, read the room. If they are very quick, short, to the point, hey, it sounds like you're busy. I'll just take a couple minutes. I have a couple questions. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to send you anything that you may not be interested in. Are you looking for anything in particular, like zip code, single level, 2 level, pool, no pool, a certain amount of bedroom, bathroom, square feet, all the nitty gritty information? Take that, then reverse it. Okay, sounds good. I'm not going to go ask the buyer that clearly is very, very short on time. Hey, can you send me a proof of funds, by the way? No, 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 no. Find out their buy box. You obviously are looking at data where you could see their past deals they've done. So if
Yep.
you can reverse the process and say, I know that they just sold this property. I know that they're looking for the next deal. Well, guess what? Now you just need to know what it is they're looking for. The next question that I always love to answer, because it's probably one of the better ones with buyers, when do I know if I'm ready to go start submitting offers? The
Mm.
question that I answer that to is, look, I need you to understand, if I ask you this, if you were to go and bring a deal to them today, would they sign a contract? If they say yes, have fun. You have a buyer ready to go. So, what's your buy box? And if you bring them a deal, are they ready to sign today? Let's rock and roll. Now let's do agent
Love it.
outreach. Now let's go do MLS offers. Now let's worry about the green time, the money making activities. So, let's throw this screen back
Love
on.
it. I'll have to show. We can show you guys that too, because once again, it is endless in here. Like I teach how to do all this stuff. We do challenges, master classes. If any of you guys have batch dialer as well, I also teach you how to master that. And just really utilize every single tool in here so that you spend less time looking at your computer and trying to figure out a button and more time closing deals. It's the whole point of why we do those things. But pretty awesome tool. So this is just one of the pages. I tried to, this is like when you click on an agent after that simple search that we did. I'm just going to show you really quick on this other page. You'll be able to see stats here and everything. This is just on another page, but with that Tampa search, this is just an agent I pulled up. Once again, excuse us here for having so much blurring and we can't really move around to show you guys every nitty gritty thing. But here I can see that they currently have these 2 active listings. One sold recently in May, and then there's another one they have pending currently. They have a couple pages of properties. Can't go into all of them, but super easy and anybody can do this, and you don't have to like save the agent or skip trace them or anything like that. You just have it right there on everybody's card.
So I already feel the comments, like they're coming. They're gonna be like, so am I sorting it by active deals? If so, how many active deals? Is this by market? Is this by amount of volume sold? Before you jump into those questions, the answer is yes. Okay, so that is the short answer. Yes is what we are going to look at with all of the above. With that said, the point of this being an interactive show, the more comments, which I'm watching, the more comments that I see come through, the more that we can engage and talk about your specific market. So if there's questions to your market and you're like, Ryan, I've tried using this and I'm not finding any success, I'm looking at active listings. Well, maybe we hop on here and we can maybe pull you into the show and say, well, let's walk through it. Well, okay, it looks like you're filtering it out by a smaller town and 10 plus active deals. That's the
Mhm.
problem. And guess what? Every market's going to be different. So some of the bigger markets where there's a lot of wholesalers, a lot of investor activity, I think it's probably a safe assumption that those markets, 3 to 5 active listings, money. Anything that is 10 plus, it's probably a team lead, broker. That's okay. It's not that you can't contact them. Just know and have the awareness when you're going in what that conversation might be. Now, smaller markets, I actually wouldn't do it by active listings. I would do it by volume sold. Every year in June, my team goes in, we pull a list, whether it's from title company, other resources. Now, luckily, having batch makes it a lot easier. But every June, we go in and we pull, because we're halfway through the year. We pull a list of all the realtors that have done over $3 million sold in volume.
Oh,
Why?
okay.
The reason is that if you look at the end of the year, that's 6 million. That's not that much. But if the high team leads and high producing teams are about 50 to $100 million in revenue every year, the $6 million range is actually probably the individual. It's the person that's out there hustling. $6 million in volume, that is a lot of transactions. So if you can understand that the average realtor does about 8, 9, 10 deals a year, well, guess what? You're finding the one that's doing just a little bit above that, that has actually got their business down. This is probably someone full time in real estate. So I'm working with them. But with that said, to completely contradict myself, we also still pull the new agent list. We send texts out to that. We send call, or we have our team call out to that. Our whole goal with that is to build the relationship. You don't know until you call. So it's not to tell you have to go and target this specific little category over here. It's to understand this specific category right here is probably very motivated, hungry, and high
Mhm.
producing realtors. These are going to be more likely of being your VIPs. But all that said, I mean, Michael Jordan was once a rookie. LeBron James was once a rookie. What if you found that person in their rookie season and you ended up aligning with them? Right now, I've got a team. Can't name names, but this team is incredible, very high producing. They bring me a lot of deals. Why? Because I do what I say I'm going to do. I show them value and I help them and I teach them. And it's also reciprocated. They've got a big team. So whenever I have help needed for traditional real estate, who do you think I go to? It's them. This is finding the way to bring value to every relationship. And that's where I think people really need to take away this from the first intro. Yes, it's awesome. It's great. We're going to deep dive into all these different strategies. But if you don't understand that even this show concept is based around value, that's everything inside community. Where too many people are talking about collaboration over competition and all that, it's great, but I don't believe it. I want to see it. I want to see you walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And in this side of things with collaboration and community, I mean, I see Bill's comment here. Quick little promotion. You guys have not joined the Agent Investors Community Discord, you're missing out. We have a show every morning. It's free, 100% for people to come in, hang out, and they're actually cold calling agents. Part of what we're going to be implementing is a whole strategy based around batch leads and cold calling agents using batch leads every morning live for free. So if you guys are looking for that community, that value, and even the ability just to see what it's like through the eyes of being an investor, maybe a fly on the wall. I always say that most investors make the comments of, you got to jump 2 feet in. There's no parachute. You need to have, they brush over that you need to have 6 months of reserves, but they say you got to jump 2 feet in. I think that this is dipping your toes in. If you understand this and you want to be a real estate investor, a real estate wholesaler, you need to understand what that path looks like. Wholesaling is the foundation. Wholesaling could be a business model, but wholesaling, the goal is to create a lot of active income. What you do with that active income is hopefully not what I've done the last couple of years, which is get taxed a lot of money. You deploy that money into real estate, you get the taxes lower, and then you're able to offset it and reinvest that money to hopefully create more passive cash flow every month. So that's what the goal is to be able to go in there, take these strategies, which again, little to no money out of pocket, make a lot of money, be extremely profitable. Whether you have debts or you have other things you need to take care of, make that a priority. But then let's talk about scaling. I always talk about the 3 S's, and we talked about this again at the mastermind. Most people don't talk about this because it's not sexy. It's not sexy to go on here and be like, oh, you need to do this, 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 this. Take it from the guy over here that's not more successful. I've just failed more. Number one is
Mm.
survivability. If you are not able to survive and pay your bills, get a job. Nobody's going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you to go get a job. Not only to go get a job to pay your bills, but to get a job because you need to pay for systems like this while you're working your job that make everything automated and easier for you. Number one is survivability. Number two is stability. If you don't
Mm.
understand stability is peace of mind, can you sleep at night? Can your head go down on the pillow and you fall asleep? It doesn't take you 30 minutes because you're anxious thinking about everything. Stability is really important. The third one is what everybody tries to jump to, which is scaling. So when you get to the point of scaling, this is when you've already done one deal a month. I could tell you again from the agent perspective, I don't know why investors are so drastically different. Investors want to be 10, 20, 30, 40 deals a month. You know what agent's goal is? One a month. If you're an agent doing one a month, you're at 12 deals a year. I just told you 8, 9, 10 deals a year is the average. So if one deal a month is the goal, that's 12. Why is your goal 40? Let's break it down. Survivability, stop comparing yourself. Worry about yourself in your own lane. Stability, pay your bills. Get what you need to done. This is being an adult, being responsible. Accountability. Number 3, scaling. Every single one of us wants to do this, but there's only a select few that actually can. The scaling comes from having the ability to not just back up what you say you're going to do, but to actually impact and take care of those around you. What makes me good at what I do isn't that I'm necessarily even the best leader in the world. It's that I give a shit more about my people around me than the other people do in other communities. That's it. There's nothing special. There's nothing that's going to be inside this show that you probably even haven't heard before. There's just going to be things that are hopefully that eye-opening, that breakthrough moment that I get it. So that's what
Yes.
this whole thing. This is beautiful. This is an example. You guys could see there's 4 active listings. They have one that, or there's one that was sold. There's 2 active, and there's a pending. This is an agent that's out in Tampa. All you did was go to advanced search, put in 5 Tampa, or 3. You put in 3, right?
Yeah, 3. I think we did 3. Yeah.
3 Tampa. Click. That's it.
That's it. And you get all of there. I could just give them a call and find out more. And then you can go and click on that active listing. You know what was funny is when diving into this, when this came out, there was in Memphis, we were looking for active listings. And there was one, I think it was listed for 70. And in the description by the agent, it says no wholesalers. What do you think about agents like that that say in their actual listing, no wholesalers?
So, I mean, that's so we got the investor part. We got to start working on the agent part here. So the agency, this is actually something I had I don't want to call it a big debate, but I had an opinion put out inside the Arizona Real Estate Agent Forum, which is a Facebook page for Arizona realtors. There was somebody that commented that said, so and so is a bad person, blah, 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 blah. Well, this guy was one of my best friends that I'm not just defending him because he's my friend. He's one of my best buyers. And so when they went in there and they're like, oh, this guy sucks, blah, 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 blah. The agent had the wrong attitude and opinion of wholesaling. So first off, what's my opinion? It's naive. It's inexperienced. It's uneducated. It's lazy.
Do you
And
think they got burned in the past?
of course.
And
I
how
mean,
can that?
regulation's inevitable. Whether right now, I mean, there's a email that got sent out literally this morning. I posted in our Discord, the wholesale additional clause addendum. There's a wholesale box, a wholesale disclosure box. The seller and buyer have to sign off and acknowledge that they are a wholesale buyer or a wholesale seller. So you are basically in Arizona required to not only say, hello, I'm wholesaling in writing, you have to check a box, and so does the seller. The next piece is that the regulation is going to come in, which is real estate licenses. I don't think that's bad. I obviously understand, and there's things I got to keep my mouth quiet with, otherwise I get canceled. But there's things that the boards have to make money, So obviously they want people to be licensed. It is a scheme where people pay more money. But what I agree with in this aspect is that it's actually going to be creating guidelines to follow. Realtors are held to a code of ethics, standards, morals. Do they all do it? Absolutely not. Is every person in the world good? Absolutely not. Is every person in the world bad? Absolutely not. So you got to understand that realtors are the same thing. A lot of them that don't work with wholesalers or aren't investor friendly, is that someone you want to work with anyway? Probably not. So it's okay.
Yeah,
What you
yeah,
can
probably.
try, which is one of my favorite things to do.
I mean, when we looked at it, we're like, you know what? Let's run the comps anyway. And I was like, this we would have to offer $0.
And it's probably 150K lower. I get it.
Yeah.
That happens.
It's like, I don't know. But it's cool too, though, because then you're coming in here and seeing, are these agents that I think I had someone also in the community that has an agent that's like, hey, I really want to work together. And I was like, just look up the agent and see what's kind of going on. Because somebody else was working with someone that every single listing of theirs had expired. And they could just see a list and they're like, maybe not. They just won't budge on the price on all of their listings. So you get to kind of see a list of, what are they doing with these properties? Who are they working for when listing them? And do they budge as well when the price isn't right?
And that's all about the motivation situation of the seller, and you don't know until you call. In that case, if I ever see it, I kind of just tell people, again, don't leave any stone left unturned. You got to know how to pivot. You got to know what the next part of the conversation is. You could always call them and ask why. You could always call them and do what I like to do, which is educate them. Hey, so I see your comment here, no wholesalers. Did you get burned by a wholesaler? They're going to tell you yes. So then you're going to say, okay, sounds good. Well, if you got burned by a wholesaler, can I be honest with you? Can I ask you some uncomfortable questions? Obviously, reading the room. If they've got time to chat and they're willing to open up and tell you this,
right,
have the conversation. I think that you might be best off going with a wholesaler. They've got access to databases of all these thousands of cash buyers, or Ryan has, 70 cash buyers, but they've got all these cash buyers that you could bring deals to that would get more exposure. So why not go work with them? Oh, hey, by the way, the one thing that's holding up the deal isn't that you needed 150K off the list price. It's that there's 6% commission that you signed a contract with them to. I will never tell you to go around the agent. This was a whole conversation in our Discord about it a couple of days ago. I will never, ever, ever tell you to go around an agent. But if you can educate the agent on why that commission is the deal breaker, now we're in business. Now we're in conversation. Now we're in problem solving mode. That's where you start making the big bucks. People want to make more money, get in more problems. Solve more problems. The more problems you have and the more you solve, the more money you make. The more value you provide, the more money you make.
I
That's it.
love that. Yeah, it sounds like you guys have a ton of value that you're sharing every day, like especially what you guys are going to be doing with calling agents every morning. Like that is so huge. So you guys should definitely get in there. I was thinking maybe I can post it in here too, or maybe I'll send it to you if you
Yep,
guys are wanting to get into the batch community as well, just to really
definitely.
continuously learn
Yeah,
these
if you want to text it
systems.
over to me, I can put it inside the banner for everybody to see.
Wait, send it to you where?
If you want to text it to me, I can
Yeah,
create
yeah.
a banner, or if you have a link, I can post it too.
Yes.
Beautiful. And yeah, guys, make sure you're joining these communities. This isn't like trying to be shameless promotion or anything like that. This is just over provide value, and then the results will come. Like
Yeah,
again,
just
I'm here.
free
Dip your toes
community.
in. Dip your toes in the water. Let's see if it's something you vibe with, and if it is, then we're in business and we can talk about this. And even if you just want to follow along, show up to these live YouTube videos and see us cold call agents together. Today, we really wanted to spend as introduction. We wanted to go through fundamentals. We want to go through who the heck is Landry and Ryan. Why are they on my screen? Why am I even watching this? And if you are watching this for episode 1, I see you guys. I appreciate you. There's a lot of comments coming through for the episode 1, so this is awesome. We are going to be growing this and building a community around agent outreach as we already have for the last few years. So
Yeah, I'm super excited. I think it's huge for everybody just in general to be next to people that are doing the same thing as them and that have information that they don't yet have and vice versa. There's such I'm sure just like in your community you have people brand new and people that have been around and are super seasoned and doing different things. So it is super valuable and I think that that's kind of the word of the day is value. How can we provide
absolutely.
each other value?
Absolutely. Are you pulling it up on screen here on the stream, or are you texting it to me, or what's best for putting that?
Yeah, so I texted it to you. See if you can pull that up. I'm going to pull something else up for people to see here too, and I'll let you know when it's ready for the
Sure
screen
thing.
share too.
It's a Bitly link. I got to copy that one.
Oh,
Give me a
okay.
minute, everybody.
Okay.
You're good. Righty.
Let's see.
In the meantime, Landry, do you want to show everybody some of the filters and how they can go through everything in batch again?
Yeah, let's do property search because then this way I can just pull a list. I don't have to
Sure.
like have this stuff blurred. So yeah, go ahead and share whenever you're ready. I'll kind of show you guys what we were talking about earlier too. If and would you personally, Ryan, go about it that way if you were wanting to find buyers? I'd love to hear your take on would you go to agents like the other way around and find cash buyers and then maybe reach out to the agents that represented maybe properties that looks like they'd been flipped? Or
So
what would
that is that last part 1,000%. So if I can go in and have a conversation with an agent that just represented an investor that flipped a house,
Yes.
there's a few things I always call like layers of the onion here. The first layer is that you can put together that agent represented the seller. The seller was at one point a buyer that flipped the property. So the next layer is, did the agent source the deal? Was it on
Mm.
market? Was it off market? Because if the agent helped acquire it, 9 times out of 10, they're the agent that lists it. Guess what? My
Yeah.
favorite one is the agent, the client. Was the agent the seller and the agent? Because if they were, now you have a buyer, you have an agent to work with that could bring you opportunities. Every person that is an investor that buys and flips or buys and holds, guess what? They don't buy every property they see. So the question is, are you wholesaling? If they say no, ask them why. The team that I'm working with now that is doing crazy amounts of volume with us, you know what the craziest thing is? They're going to hit hundreds of millions of dollars in sales this year. They don't wholesale. So now they are. What do you think is going to happen? Minimum of $500,000 in the bottom line.
Oh yeah.
Minimum. It's because they're not buying every deal. What they were doing before is buying it to flip. Well, if they can't buy it to flip, what are you going to do? You're just going to pass on it? No. There's money to be made. It may not be with you, but the value you provide to the person that it is value for in that deal, that's called an assignment fee. That's wholesaling. That's what we're looking for. Don't worry about trying to be the guy. It's like, I need a guy or a girl that needs to be the one. I'm going to go make X amount of dollars on this assignment fee. That's how much I have to make. No. You want to make more money, get the deal lower. You want to make more money, get a buyer that pays more. The value you provide is nothing more than what somebody's willing to pay for. So if that's a buyer, whether that's education, whether that's even a product in a store, the value is based on the consumer being your buyer. The buyer is looking for the deal. How good's the deal? Stop worrying about if you're going to make 50K, 20K, 10K, $1,000. There's a guy in our community that literally is like known right now for getting these $500, $600, $700 assignments. Is that sexy? Not always, but you know what is? Experience in deals and being able to say that what you put down as your word was a guarantee.
Yep, consistency and just moving on. It doesn't matter about. I love that. I think that's huge. I think I just had someone else. I think it was that same person I was telling you about within the community that it's like I'm just going to focus on maybe within the first couple of deals that they'd closed, maybe focusing more on the consistency of it rather than trying to fit all these properties into this perfect deal to get this massive assignment as they're
Mm-hmm.
getting things going, just getting the ball rolling. So
Absolutely.
huge.
And there's the link on the bottom too. Does this bring them to Discord? Does this bring them to Facebook?
This will be a sign up link. It's Slack, so it's just like
Okay,
Discord. Yeah. So
beautiful. I
get
got
in
to get
there,
you guys
guys.
on Discord
Yeah, it's a good spot that you can. We post links in here for obviously things that we're doing right now
for
or
sure. And
challenges within
then
the system and stuff.
there
So
is the Agent Investors Discord too. You guys can go to agentinvestors.com/Discord and it will bring you to our page. It will give you all the information and the link to join. This is where we do our live calls every morning. It's at, I think it's 8 a.m. Central. So if you're on the East Coast, not too bad. West Coast, obviously, make sure you're up bright and early. But
yeah,
this has been super cool. We've actually only done it for a couple of days. Shout out to Patrick Conley. Day one had like 25 people. Day two, he had 30. It's cool while it's a small group. You know, it's intimate, it's very personalized, it's hands-on, it's free. But we practice what we preach, and we've got people in our community that are doing the same. So it's super
so
cool.
huge. That's so awesome. I love that. With this, wanted to show you guys. We'll just keep it in Tampa with kind of tying it together with finding agents. Super easy in here. And I just went to now property search, and then I searched in Tampa. Click search. It pulls up just the grand total results. So we haven't filtered anything yet, but
Cool.
maybe in here, like you could say, hey, I'm eventually going to be looking for what we're going to do with these filters is find people that have potentially fix and flipped properties, and we'll just do residential single family. There's so much, there's like over 300 filters in here. So I
Mm-hmm.
always tell people, I'm like, don't like be patient with yourself, take your time, look through each of the sections because you could miss out on a point of data that's like, pulls exactly what you need. But I'm going to say I'm looking for residential single family and then just immediately go down to the cash buyers section.
Landry, are we looking for buyers here? Are we looking for agents to bring us deals? What are we looking for?
Yeah. So this way, if you use the property search, because obviously, like in the agent outreach, it's like that is where we can focus on pulling those specifics on their listings. But then on the other hand, if you are going to be trying to connect with agents on properties that were maybe fix and flip, they've represented them, you can
Mm-hmm.
go and do that a little bit deeper
I
on
love
this
it.
side of
I
things.
love it. So in this
Then
case, we're looking at residential single family home, probably sold for MLS status.
yeah, yeah. So we could do sold. I'm going to come back around that kind of just like painting this picture of
Yep.
yes, cash purchase. Usually, I mean, do you ever care about, let's say that you are trying to find buyers in this scenario, do you ever care about somebody having multiple properties in their
The person that's
portfolio?
going to most is the one that's never done a flip before.
Oh,
And I'm not saying that to be the guy that's like, oh, like those are the people you target. No, it's just that if you understand that the mom and pop shop people that flip 5 homes a year, they own a couple rentals or they're looking for their first rental, the value to them is that they're excited. It's emotional. It's that
yeah,
that leap of faith. So those are usually better not to filter out. And again, similar to the agent side, yes, you could probably target by property zone, but it's not something I do.
love it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll just leave that at just yes, cash purchase. They don't have the same mailing address with their property address, so they don't live there.
Cool.
And we'll do right here. Hold on. I'm going to do one other filter down in that section where I usually will play around with doing purchased in like the last 12 months. So they purchased it within a year ago and
So
then
I'd
they
probably
sold
challenge
it.
that one just a little bit, and I'd say
Okay,
probably
what would
last
you
3
do?
months.
Okay, the last three. Well,
Yep.
what if you're doing in the case of finding the flips, they bought it and then they sold it. So what if you did they
So
bought it?
last 12 months, the only thing that scares me, there's
Okay.
a lot of investors that got wiped out in the last 12 months. So somebody that bought, what is it, June 20th?
Yeah.
In June, so to be very specific, June of last year was a very, very, very bad time. So I would just say the people that are selling, you don't know if they're necessarily even making money on the deal. The last 3
Mm,
months, or even just to challenge it again, the last 6 months, anything from 2023, anyone that's buying in 2023 is a legitimate buyer. Anyone
okay.
that bought in 2022, we'll see.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do the last six then. We'll go back to So then we can like add another filter that they
For sure.
sold it. So they
For
bought
sure.
it, sold it. Love that. Okay, there's that. And then we'll come in here to ownership and do, I don't know, if they bought it within the last 6 months, maybe it sold in the last 3, maybe in
Yeah,
the
and
last
I'd say if they've owned
6.
it, I would say maybe that's the last 12 months. I mean, that's not terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then with this though, then if we're pairing these together, then if they bought it and then they sold it, this is kind of the idea of like
Oh,
3.
so it's like 6 months. I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So what's your thought on this one?
I mean, how long would somebody need? I guess
To
every
own the
reason is
property?
gonna be different. Yeah, to let it go after they flipped it. Maybe.
Worst case scenario, like if they were trying to offload it, and it'd probably be like if they owned it and it was done, renovated, and they couldn't sell it, 2-3 months. If it's someone that's trying to get in, out, they should only own it for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Flips should be done in 6 to 10 weeks at most. If it's 12 weeks,
Okay.
it's a big remodel.
Okay, let's just do this just to give you guys an idea and just apply it.
Sure.
So with those, we'll see what we get. So there's 598 that were bought
Wow.
within the past 6 months, sold in the last 3 months. Yes, they were purchased with cash. Yes, single family residential. And what you could do before even looking into any of these is we'll have to blur that info. But the big idea with this is if you filtered down like a really nice, you probably way smaller than this even, but you could just save the agents and then just call the agents attached to those properties that were bought and sold and be like, hey, I noticed you represented this property, and start looking into all the details there, which is a really great way to do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love that new feature, save agents. This is what this is all about. I mean, I get excited when we start talking about agent outreach just because obviously this is my bread and butter. But I'm excited because there's always the people that are like, Ryan, you're crazy. You teach everybody, they're all going to go and do it. While I will make the same argument, and you guys are right to an extent, Phoenix is a hellhole on the MLS. It's probably my own fault.
Oh.
But all that said, I will say that you guys need to understand the opportunities are everywhere. I just went from not being able to pull 40 in a month anymore off the MLS and through agents to now we average about 7 to 10. So 7 to 10 deals is still not a bad month. And we also had a very serious conversation as the market shifted about what our capacity is. And this goes back to awareness and what the end goal is. For us to create enough cash flow, which is active income, we are looking for 7 to 10. 7 to 10, averaging 10, 20K per deal. That's still not terrible. So you just have to figure out what it is you're trying to accomplish, what pays the bills, what puts a roof over your head, food on the table, and then understand that this strategy truly is the best place to start. That is the one thing you will hear me say that is biased about this strategy. I mentioned earlier, I don't mind if it's a stepping stone. I want to make sure you guys are clear. This is the best place to start. That is the only thing I will say, and I will let somebody freaking put me in the grave until I'm horrible with this with analogies, by the way. But we're going to try to make you guys understand agent outreach is where you need to start. That's wholesaling. If you choose to go to direct to seller, by all means, I understand. I respect it. I will challenge you, but that doesn't mean that I'm right. It's just because I know what it takes to be a good, successful direct to seller wholesaler. And not many people talk about it on camera, what it's actually going to take to be successful direct to seller. Agent outreach, you can make mistakes and didn't cost you anything more than your time, didn't cost you money. Once you get a couple deals under your belt, 10, 15, 20K in the bank, now you've got options. You could go do private lending. You could go do fix and flip. You could go do development. You could go do creative finance. You could buy and hold long-term or short-term. You could go do all the different things in the industry that you want. But first things first, let's worry about making some money. Let's worry about going and getting your foot in the door with the lowest barrier of entry possible within wholesaling, which is working with agents. The thing that I'm trying to change the narrative with is I want you guys to understand how to efficiently do it, how to properly do it, how to ethically, morally, foundational, everything around that. You need to do right business. Good people do good business. People like doing business with people they know, like, and trust. So if you are able to get that know, like, and trust from realtors, now it's a matter of just scaling. That's the third S we talked about. Stop worrying about trying to scale this strategy and how do I submit 30 offers in a day? Stop. How many of you are saying I need to submit 30 offers in a day, but you're not even calling one agent? How many of you are saying I need to submit 5 offers in a day, but you're not even going and sending one letter of intent? You're not even looking at the MLS. You're saying things that you feel like you need to do rather than doing what you know you need to do and should do. What you need to do is the green time. It's the money making. When people tell me they're not happy, I do nothing more than just start asking questions. I just want people to be able to ask themselves some of the hard questions that we don't talk about, which is, it's not how many pieces of data did you pull or how many lists did you skip trace or stack or all this stuff. It's how many offers in a day did you submit? The next question is how many conversations did you have? If you're not submitting offers, you're not making money. If you're not having conversations, you're not building relationships, which lead to making money. That's it. There's nothing special. It's writing offers, it's having conversations, and doing it consistently.
So awesome. I'm excited that, I mean, this show is going to be so game changer because I think people really need to just see the whole breakdown and the whole flow of what that looks like. Sure, you get the data, but it's like, what do I do with it now? How does that conversation go? You know, what do I say to, of course, everybody's going to make mistakes. There's no way you're just going to be perfect at all times, but I think it's going to be so good to see that.
What I'm excited about is, for one, to be put into markets where I'm not doing business. Again, tell everybody, make sure you guys put in the comments, let us know, put it in the Discord what you guys are looking for in market wise. I will go and work your market, and I will give you all the realtors that I talk to in the live show. So it's 100% yours. But that's one. Two, I'm excited to show people, again, like you just said, this isn't just the here's all the information. It's the here's all the information and here's the roadmap to follow it. Like, we're giving you that map that has the whole thing drawn out. All you need to do is, you start here, you end here. Okay.
Take the action with
That's it.
what you have. Yep.
So now we can go and understand what the money making is, and that's going to be going and doing all the stuff in that roadmap. My goal is to get people to start getting deals done in this show live. In a perfect world, I would love to start hearing everybody go and tell us what their wins are from now to next week.
I would love that.
What are you going to do between this Tuesday and next Tuesday? Hopefully it's not just sit around in a bunch of Zoom calls. What it should be is maybe popping in there, getting the question that you needed answered. It's watching some replays, skimming it over. It's spark notes. What we need to be doing is going and working. It's not about just sitting around thinking that you're doing all the right stuff. Stop worrying about the logo. Stop worrying about what you feel like you need to do to have the best list possible. The faster you realize that the whole situation needs to be perfect, you're already failing. I make mistakes every single day. You guys have no idea. This is my first time sitting down on this thing. I'm sure I messed up somewhere. Like, there's plenty of mistakes being made all the time. Our whole goal is to show you the authenticity behind it. And then on top of that, let's have some fun. Put in some comments as to what you want me to say inside the calls. Maybe it's a random word. Maybe it's a random saying. Let's show you that there is no script. This is just go with the flow, building relationships. And if you want me to throw out random words and random sayings, great. By all means, I will show you guys. I'll even make mistakes on purpose. That's what this whole goal is.
There you go. Sometimes I know, because everybody's like, I have to get a business card first. I have to do this. I got to be ready for
the Instagram bio.
Anyway, I'm excited. I think it'll be really good. By the way, will you post the link again, Ryan, when you get the chance to the Batch community? Would be good, and yours as well. But yeah, I hope to see you guys in there. You can chat with me, ask me questions there, and I can show you things that are not blurred out as well. It's so hard to do this for you guys in terms of like, we want to show you everything, but we'll get kicked right off of YouTube.
Absolutely. So guys, that down there is the link for the Batch community. It's in Slack. Again, I'll work on them. It took me a little bit of time to get them agent outreach, but we will make sure they're in Discord sooner or later. Next, we've got the Agent Investors Discord. We do live calls with agents every morning. It's a free community, free forum, free ability to send us deals, get a non-refundable earnest money offer. So if you have deals in Texas, Arizona, or Florida, I'm willing to put up $5,000 non-refundable on deals. I will be your buyer. You can send me stuff before you even have it under contract, and my team will give you a number that we could commit to on a deal. So agentinvestors.com/Discord. We are here to help, provide, and serve. And also, too, again, Landry, thank you so much. This is going to be a blast going through the show. I just can only imagine how much value everybody's going to get by the time it's all said and done.
Yes, I can't wait. By the way, I saw this quick comment of Rick. I thought that's a good shout out of things kind of going through in your business where it doesn't always work out the way you saw, but we see you, Rick, and you got this.
Absolutely. And Rick, that's the vulnerability that we appreciate. That's the stuff that isn't, again, sexy or easy to talk about, because everyone on social media is always crushing it. No one's going to get up here and say, I lost X. This happened. This was a mistake. Just understand that it's a journey. And going back to comparison, you just got to understand it's your journey. It's not mine. Don't try to be the best version of Ryan up here. I'm going to work on being the best version of Ryan. You should work on being the best version of Rick. And more importantly, you failed, but what did you learn? And it wasn't necessarily a failure where you beat yourself up and say, I'm a failure, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. You learned. That's what this is.
Great. Finding out how great your attorneys are. I love that. Yeah. Absolutely. Being able to see just anything in life really is what can I learn from this? So
absolutely. And
for sure.
The next show we've got is going to be next Tuesday, 1 o'clock Arizona time. If you guys are not subscribed, notifications on, make sure to do so. We obviously are posting updates inside the Discord and inside the Slack for Batch. But if you guys have any questions or anything, let us know. Hopefully, you guys pop into the community. And then aside from that, we will see you guys next week. We'll be making some calls. We'll probably work that Tampa market, but who knows? If you guys comment below in the communities, let us know what market you want to see. We will make sure to get that all done. I appreciate
Awesome.
you guys again. Landry, thank you. Thank you. I look forward to doing the show, and we will see you guys next week. Peace
All
out.
right. Thanks, guys.